2 months ago, I tore this studio apart, boxed everything up, labeled it all meticulously, and stored it away to make room so that we could repair and replace the ceiling in this space. And while that was happening, I drafted a new workflow plan, reconfigured how everything works in here, so that when we pulled it all out and rebuilt it, it's now a completely different space and a different workflow. And I want to share with you a little bit what I did, why I did it, and the effect it's having. The first big difference that you notice when you walk in here is that it feels open and airy. There are 2 reasons for this. The first is the windows are no longer blocked. Previously, I had sound treatment stuck in the window spaces, blocking light, obscuring the view, and I had a big mixing desk. And all of that was designed because sonically it was better. It was the exact place you'd want to have the speakers. It was exactly where the sound treatment needed to be. But I think an underrated thing with project studios is this: you do want to pay very good attention to the sonics of your room, but you also need to make sure the room feels good to create in. And that was something I had overlooked, I think, for quite a while. And it feels so much better, even if the sound quality isn't as good. The studio is in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. It was Thanksgiving yesterday. We had our first snowfall of the season. So we got about 8 inches of snow in the mountains, and I got to watch it all happen from inside the studio, which was beautiful. I'm connected now, and light can come in. It's wonderful. So the second thing that makes it feel so much more open is this: I have a lot of gear. And previously it was a little claustrophobic in here because it was all in this room. It was tough to move around. It was tough ergonomically to play many of the instruments, which kind of ruins the whole point. So to solve this, what I've done is I've stored most of my instruments in an adjacent room on baker's shelves. So those are strong metal shelves that you can put lots of shelves real close together. You can get them on Amazon. And the effect then is most of the gear is stored away, but I can pull it out easily and set it up and use it. And that brings me to sort of the next big workflow change. I've created, instead of having 18 synthesizer stands in here, I have one synthesizer flex station or instrument flex station where I can put up to 3 instruments at any moment. I have connections that are ready to go, power, of course, audio in and out, and MIDI. So I can put 3 instruments at any moment on this flex station, and it's immediately integrated into the studio workflow. And 3 instruments is, for me, at any one moment when I'm tracking, is more than I would probably use. I mostly would use 2 at a time. And that's not all I have in here. In addition to my flex station, I have a modular table, which is hosting the Korg ARP 2600, the Moog Matriarch, and a bunch of other modular gear. And in addition to that, in my desk, I have a number of little black boxes, right? So those are permanently patched, as is the modular station. So in terms of workflow and immediacy, something I've been doing for, 2 years now, is I've been moving away from the DAW. And as it happens, there's a piece of equipment that became available during the ceiling work, the ceiling replacement, that has really helped make this possible. And it is the Tascam Model Series Studio Bridge. It is a standalone 24-channel recorder. It needs no other equipment, and you can patch 24 channels in, 24 channels out. It does its own conversion, and it will record any or all of those 24 channels simultaneously to an internal SD card, which means that at any moment I can turn as many channels as I want on, press record, the computer's not even active, it all records. I then can back up and overdub as many times as I need to. There's no latency, there's no syncing involved, there's no issue in terms of what it's essentially a digital tape machine, which is what I've been after for a long time. So what I do is I record everything directly onto the SD card, overdubs and all, and pop it out when I'm finished, drop it into the computer, drag all of that into the DAW for mixing. And that brings me to another important change in the studio. I'm only running Linux. No Mac, no Windows, no subscriptions, no upgrade game, no proprietary software at all. There are a number of DAW options. I'm using Mixbus, and that has proved to be extremely good for me because it emulates an analog workflow. Of course, choosing Linux means I don't have a super wide range of sound processing options in the mix stage. So to fix this, I use outboard gear, and I pull audio, patch audio directly out of the DAW when I need to in a mixing session, and run it through outboard dynamics processing or effects and put it back into the DAW. And I do that using an RME UFX, which is an older interface with really good conversion, but it's class compliant. That's the key. It's class compliant and works really well with Linux. So that kind of wraps things up. It was a quick tour. It's an overview of how this workflow has changed for me. If you have questions, please, I encourage you to comment below. I love reading the comments and respond to them personally, of course. But like and subscribe in the meantime. I've got a lot of new content coming with the new studio configuration in place, and I look forward to sharing it with you. So until next time, be well.